Yo, what's up? It's 𝐂𝐕𝐎𝐑𝐾, and in this video, I'm going to do a full detailed review of the Oura Ring 2, and I'm going to walk you guys through exactly how it works, what I think about it, and all the features and benefits, as well as the shortcomings and drawbacks. So if you haven't seen my video already on Oura Ring and how it's changing my life, then I'll link it up in the description. You should go check that out when you get a chance. But in this video, I'm going to break down how the technology actually works, how the ring works, how the application works, and you can decide for yourself if it's a good decision for you to get one. So what is the Oura Ring? The Oura Ring is a little tracker, little wearable device that you put on your finger, and it tracks a number of different health metrics. And there are basically three categories of metrics that it looks at, which are: number one is your overall readiness, number two is your overall sleep, and number three is your overall activity. So if we open up the app right here, what you're gonna see is your readiness score, and then right underneath that, you're gonna see how long you actually slept for, and then right below that, your sleep score. It's kind of just like a quick snapshot. And then it sets a goal for, based on your average activity and your sleep and your readiness, a goal for what you should do in terms of calories burned. And so today it's saying you can reach your goal by walking 7 miles, burning 550 calories. So if we look at the bottom, we go to readiness. This is going to break down all the things that contribute to our readiness score. So we have resting heart rate, we have heart rate variability, body temperature, respiratory rate, and all these other metrics in terms of, let's see, sleep score, sleep balance, previous day activity, activity balance, body temperature, resting heart rate, recovery index. And then it gives us some nice graphs to get a more visual representation of these metrics that are contributing to the overall score. Then moving on, we got sleep. So in these 4 quadrants, we got total sleep time, time in bed, sleep efficiency, resting heart rate, and then underneath here it's broken down to total sleep, efficiency, restfulness, REM sleep, deep sleep, latency, timing, and then again we have some graphs. This one's really cool because it actually breaks down our REM sleep, our light sleep, our deep sleep, and our time awake, and that gives us a really clear indicator of, like, you know, the health of our actual sleep, like what's the quality of our actual sleep. So what's cool is also if you click on any of these individual things, like I just clicked on sleep efficiency, it will break down what sleep efficiently actually means based on Oura's definitions. So if you want to know what anything actually means, then you can just click on it and it will show you. Then go to activity, and we have the goal that Oura has set for us based on our baseline metrics, then the total burn, the walking equivalency, and the amount of steps that we've taken that day. And obviously today I have to go for a walk. But again, it breaks down our overall activity score and then these individual metrics that basically contribute to the overall activity score. And then we have our activity intensity. So if you're doing high intensity interval training, you'll definitely see that on your activity intensity, and you should be able to see what type of activity you're actually getting, or at least what's being recorded according to Oura. So moving right along, if we go home and we click on this little drop down menu on the top left hand, we can click on trends, and this is really cool actually. So in trends, they have, with these 3 categories of sleep, readiness, and activity, they have each category that can be broken down with it, like the subcategory that can be broken down, and it can graph out for you based on like what's your average daily bedtime, or your average weekly bedtime, or monthly, or whatever it is. And I find it really helpful to look at the trends. Like if I just want to look at my overall readiness score over, you know, the course of, you know, months, it's like, okay, like obviously right here I'm trending upwards, which means it's good. Behavior is changing. I'm working on improving my readiness score by getting more sleep, by getting more activity, and this can be very motivating, I've found. And this is a big reason why I really like the Ring in general. It's just like, oh, like let me just look and see how I'm doing. It makes it more of a game in my eyes. So every once in a while, Oura will send you updates if you haven't moved very much, or when you open up the app and you have a good readiness score, it'll say, okay, today's a good day to push it. And I really like these little updates that Oura sends, because then it's like, it reminds me, okay, like now I got to go to the gym, or it's time to go for a walk, or I've been sitting at my desk for 8 hours, like I need to go move, I need to go get in some steps. And I think it's those little reminders that make a big difference. There's also a web application or data center for all the data from your specific Oura Ring that gets sent to the cloud that has even more in-depth measurements, and you can actually compare different statistics with each other. And it's really cool. I actually haven't used it, but I was watching another video of someone who was reviewing, and they said that, yeah, if you want to compare different metrics and see how things are correlated, then that's a really good way to do that. So if you're a data nerd, if you're a geek like that, then I would go check that out for sure. Let's talk about some of the shortcomings. The app does not record if you take a nap in the middle of the day. Like I find it to be pretty inaccurate. And also I meditate first thing in the morning, and it usually counts that meditation time as like awake time. Like, so there's this like little white bar that's like, I'm like laying in bed for, you know, longer than I really am. And so sometimes I have to manually go in and adjust that and move the actual cursor so that it like cuts off at the right time of when I actually woke up. So there's a little bit of inaccuracy there. And the only other thing that I think is a big drawback is sometimes this can be pretty invasive when it comes to like if you're working out and you're like lifting or you're doing like barbell stuff. Like I've definitely noticed it's kind of uncomfortable, but for the workouts that I do generally, it doesn't seem to get that much in the way. I've heard some other people like talk about taking the ring off when they work out, and they're pretty bummed about that, and I don't do that. The only time I have had to do that is when I play basketball. I feel like it kind of really obstructs my shot, so I take it off then. So that's kind of a drawback, but I think it's sort of outweighed by the fact that it's so small and convenient otherwise. Like there's no other times where I take this off. I pretty much wear it nonstop. I wear it when I shower, I wear it when I go to sleep. I'm pretty much always wearing it. So I feel like the accuracy of the data is really good, and it's on my finger, which according to some people is a better read of like what's actually going on in your body. So overall, I think the pros outweigh the cons. And the price is, I believe, $300 or $299 for just the generic version. And I think it can go up a couple $100 if you buy like the rose gold one or the one with diamonds. But this one is just fine for me. I would have liked it to not be this chrome plasticky type material. I think it looks kind of cheap. Yeah, like it just doesn't feel very nice. So I think from a form factor perspective, they could have made that a little bit better. There is a matte black one that you can get that I think costs a little bit more, and I personally think looks a little better. But I think in the future they could make some ones that look a little bit less cheap. But the fact that they can jam all the technology that they do into this, and it has the capability to do what it does, is pretty unbelievable. And the battery life is amazing. Like I rarely have to charge it. I think what they claim is that it will keep its charge for about 6 to 7 days. And the amount of time that it has to charge is like nothing. Like you just drop it on there in like an hour, it's like boom, it's good, fully charged. So when I'm gonna be sitting at my desk for a while, sometimes I'll just drop it in the charger and like forget about it. And because I'm not moving or sleeping or doing anything else, it's not like important to be wearing it, as important to be wearing it at that time. And then I just put it back on. And so like, I think that's been huge, is that I don't really have to think about charging it. Something that a lot of people talk about as well is that you can actually turn this on airplane mode. You can turn the Oura Ring on airplane mode, which is really cool, because I know there's a lot of people talking about EMF exposure and the complications that come with that, and minimizing Bluetooth and Wi-Fi in general. At nighttime, I put it on airplane mode and it still collects all the data. And then when I boot it up in the morning, it just takes a minute to sync up, and then boom, all the data is there. So I think from that perspective, they did a really good job of being able to include that and make it work. So how does this compare to other sleep trackers or wearables? I don't really have much of an opinion on that because I've never used another sleep tracker or wearable. The thing that I like about this that I don't think I would like about other ones is that I don't have to wear something on my wrist that is like all bulky and I feel like would get in the way of things and just be kind of like weird or uncomfortable. Like, this is super low profile and I never noticed. As far as the accuracy of the data goes, I don't have anything to point towards that it's inaccurate. The only thing, you know, I've heard other people talk about and complain about, oh, the Oura Ring's not accurate, blah, 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 blah. And for me, it's less about the exact numbers and more about the mindset and the perspective of being conscious of these, just a number, you know, just like, oh, am I being intentional with how I sleep? Am I being intentional with how I move? Am I moving enough, right? Like, even if it's not exactly perfectly accurate, the fact that I'm thinking about these things to me is where I get the value. And I would also say that if you stick with the same way of measuring, right? If you're always using the same measurement tool, then you make adjustments based on the data that you get from that one measurement tool. And that will give you a place to start and a place to make adjustments from, as long as you're measuring against some form of data. If you have nothing, then you can't make any decisions. So you need at least something to make some accurate decisions or some more informed decisions. So the question then becomes like, should you buy this? I am a huge advocate of this ring. I am a big fan. So I believe you should. I believe everyone should be tracking their sleep and tracking their activity because it helps you just become more conscious of that. And that's what the video that I made was all about. If you haven't checked it out, it's the one in the description. But I believe, yeah, everyone should have an Oura Ring or at least something like an Oura Ring to become more aware of how they're sleeping, how they're moving, and how they can make decisions that are more informed about their health. That's my review of the Oura Ring. And if you like this content, please give it a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing and let me know in the comments, do you have an Oura Ring? Are you considering getting one? Are you weighing out the options between this and other trackers? I would love to know, so blow me up in the comments and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.